Morning, welcome back to Alan's Allotment. As promised, here's my top 10, or as it turned out to be, it's now the top 12. Now, I'm saying the top 12, now I hope no one takes this the wrong way. I'm not trying to indicate in numbers from 10 to 1 that number 1 is the best. It's just my preferred watching, and every single one of these has something to offer to the community. There's lots more, but unfortunately I can't fit them all in on this video, so we're going to go through this one and give you what is the top 10 channels that instantly catch my eye when I get a notification and I pop over and view them. And they're in no particular order of better, best, etc. That's all it is. That's all I can tell you. So we're going to start off at number 12. And some of these you may have heard of and some you may not have ever heard of. But I recommend that you do go over and view them. So the first one is Ben over at Grow Veg. Now this is an ideal channel for any newbies in the to growing vegetables. He breaks things down. He has a great presenting style. I really love the way he presents, and he has a great style, and he helps newbies from start to finish, selecting seed types, what's good to grow outside, etc., as does every YouTuber. But I just like his style of narration and how he comes across, and anybody who really appeals to me always goes on my subscribe list. And I have lots more, as I say, but I can't fit them all in on this video. So if you haven't already heard of Grow Veg, then you need to pop over there, and we'll leave links in the description to every one of these channels. Then we're moving on down to number 11. Now, this is one of my favourites, and again, they're all my favourites, to be honest. I don't want to make any discrepancy between any of them. Is Hugh Richards. Now, Hugh Richards is a very, very knowledgeable gardener. And I remember watching Hugh Richards' channel, right back when he was just a bit of a lad. And he was just starting off. And even at that time, I was pretty fascinated with the insights that Hugh offered. And his channel's grown so much over the years. It's quite unbelievable. Now, a lot of these, as I say, you will have heard of and already be subscribed to. But if you haven't, any newbies watching this channel, you pop over and have a look at Hugh's videos. He has so much to offer. And his video presentation is really, really, really good. Now I'm moving down to number 10. And of course, that's me. If you haven't already subscribed, you need to subscribe to Alan's Allotment. And keep watching to see how we progress. Now, for those that don't know, I grow a mixture of vegetables. I'm a newbie, and I've learned lots from all of these individuals. I grow lots of vegetables, both in the polytunnel, through winter and outside, in predominantly a no-dig system. And I grow exotic trees up in the north of Cumbria, which is pretty difficult, but I am having a go. And I have grapefruits, limes, oranges, mandarins, peaches, nectarines, figs, and a few other bits and pieces as well. I do a lot of projects on this channel as well, so if there's something you want to see how to do, I'm a bit of a DIY enthusiast, so take a look back on the videos and you might find something of interest. So the next one is number 9, and that's Nigel at Muddy Boots. Now, I like Nigel's channel. I like them all, as I say. I'm not trying not to do to compare one to another, but I like Nigel's channel because I certainly found that when I first started out, Nigel would offer and does offer like a full series on, like, say, how to grow an onion right from seed, the time at transplanting, the time at planting out, and harvest. And he does the same with his cabbages, his onions, etc. and really nice guys, Nigel. And again, it's just another one of my favourites. Again, there will be links in the description to all of these videos down below. Pop over if you haven't already seen them and check them out. Then we'll move on to Steve at Greenside Up. He's just up the road from me, about 16 miles up the road. And I've watched Steve's channel pretty much from day one. And I found out about Steve through, ironically, another on my list, Tony Smith. Now, Tony Smith's over in the northeast, so I'll categorise these two together. And they're very good pally companions, is Tony and Steve. And there's always a bit of banter between them and a bit of competition, and I quite like that. It's quite entertaining. And Tony's style of presenting is just another unique style of presenting again, as is Steve's, as is everyone's. But I do follow them along quite religiously, and Steve in particular has a lot of great gardening knowledge, and he does share that with everyone, and a really great channel, as is Tony Smith's over in the northeast. Tony's a bit of a character, and he gives you a bit of a giggle now and again as well, and I really like that about that. So well done, guys, and we'll leave links in the description to those two channels also. Now this is one that you may not have heard of, and if you haven't, I highly recommend that you pop over there and watch this channel. And it's called the Weedy Garden. If you've never heard of it before, I apologise, I can't remember the guy's name at this moment in time, but he's an Australian and he's a photographer by profession, and his videos are absolutely outstanding. Go back and watch them right from day one. You will be absolutely fascinated. And he basically turns a weedy patch into a self-sustaining grow area. Also a very knowledgeable man and very in touch with Mother Nature. That is one that I really highly recommend, if you haven't heard of, that you go over and see. Again, we'll leave a link in the description below. And then we've got Steve at Digwell Green Fingers. Again, Steve is a very knowledgeable guy. And when he's doing his channels, if you actually listen to what Steve's telling you, there's a lot of knowledge in there. He is a very knowledgeable guy, and he's quite an avid cook as well. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't appeal to me, cooking recipes and things like that, but each to their own, and that's up to Steve for providing those as well, because perhaps I'm unique in that way. I'm not really into recipes and things like that, but he is a very knowledgeable gardener, and I highly recommend that you pop over and see Steve at Digwell Green Fingers. He's top bloke, and he has some really good content on there. And again, there'll be a description in the links below. Another one that you may or may not have heard of, and I have mentioned this one in the past, but not as one of my favourites, is the Ripe Tomato Farms. Jeff, I think they call the guy. And what I like about Jeff is Jeff does a series of quickies, and particularly good to novices, i.e. he does the planting garlic start to finish. There's a lot of good camera work on the Ripe Tomato Farms channel. And if you just want something, if you're just wanting to find out something precise quickly, I highly recommend this channel, because he has a lot of good quick tip videos that will take you from start to finish, and sometimes in less than 3 minutes. And I really do enjoy the content on there. So then we're moving down to Steve at Seaside Kitchen Garden. Steve has a wealth of knowledge, and the amount of food that Steve grows is amazing. Every week, almost 365 through the year, he shows you his harvests in the kitchen, and they're absolutely amazing. Some of them are on a par with shop bought produce, but better because they're organic. He also has an ebook which he freely allows people to use for a step-by-step growing guides right through the entire season, what he plants, when to put it in the tunnel, when to put it outside, when to harvest, etc. And with a successional planting afterwards. Really, really good channel. And of course, it wouldn't be a channel without Simplified Gardening. So we've got Tony O'Neill over at Simplified Gardening. This guy, to me, he's absolutely amazing. Everybody is, but in particular, I do like Tony O'Neill. Again, I've watched his channel right from day one, back in the day. And I never miss an episode of Simplified Gardening, if I can help it. A wealth of knowledge. He's wrote a book on how to compost, which I've purchased. And I highly recommend, if this is something you want to do, that you go and purchase it yourself. It's fascinating reading. It really is. But again, I like Tony's style of presentation and how he will also try to take you through from start to finish on lots of different subjects. Again, highly recommended. Most people will already know about this, but just for those that haven't, or maybe just viewing YouTube for the first time or stumbled across my channel, I highly recommend you pop over there. And then of course we've got Charles Dowding, one of the great pioneers of the no-dig systems, which is what I'm basically trying to emulate here. Now, from some of my previous videos you will have seen I did actually dig a couple of beds over in the growing area this season, and there was a reason for that. We did go with the no-dig system, but I found that the beds were getting waterlogged because of the very, very poor drainage in that area. And so what I did is I actually rotivated those beds over, got them a good depth, added plenty of new compost, etc. And of course they won't ever be dug again. But Charles Dowding needs no introduction, but again, he's just one on my favourite list to go and watch and never miss an episode. And then we've got another channel, which is one of my favourites as well. I only stumbled across this one, I would say 12 months ago, and that's CastleHillGarden, and we've got Cliff and Diane over there. And like me, he's getting on in his years. And I love his style of presentation, and I like to see the older gardeners with their methods from yesteryear incorporated in today's growing. Really, really great videos, and I highly recommend you pop over and see CastleHillGarden. Let's move on to, let me think. Let's move on now to Danny at the Grapevine Garden. The reason I have to keep pausing with Danny's channel is because she's forever changing it. It used to be the Grapevine Garden. No, it didn't. It used to be the Grapevine Allotment. And it took me forever to get used to saying that. And then he changed it to the Grapevine Garden, which is what it is now. Now, Danny has been a fantastic YouTube gardening friend to me. Out of the blue, I got an email off Danny quite some time ago, giving me some advice on how to try and change the style of my presentation and improve the videos, and how to try and boost the ratings of the content on YouTube. And he done all of this off his own back, and he just approached me without me asking him, and he gave me some fantastic advice, absolutely fantastic advice, and I've never looked back. And I just want to say at this point a massive thank you to Danny. And you'll hear Danny's channel being mentioned quite a bit, along with another individual, because these two individuals in particular have really, really helped me out. Not only from their content, but on a personal level as well. And then last but not least, I'm going to move on to Terry. Now, Terry King at, sorry Terry, I'm stumbling here. Terry King, Allotment Gardening on a Budget. And Terry probably needs no introduction either. Terry does lots of fantastic little tips. He's a great DIY enthusiast. I love watching his DIY videos in particular. And he makes gold out of crap, basically. Recycling is probably one of the best recyclers on this planet, I would say. And he just recycles everything from plastic bags to, you know, the unimaginable. He just has a use for everything. He finds a use for everything on the allotment. And he has some fantastic tips on there. And again, Terry, from a personal perspective, has helped me out really, really massively. Now, again, like I say, I'm not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I'm not trying to make this a video of competition of who's the best and who's not the best. They're all equal in my book. And I enjoy every one of these channels. And if there is any that you haven't heard of, I highly recommend you pop over and take a look. Now, I'm sorry if this video has dragged on a little bit, but I had to get at least to these 12 in. I do have more subscriptions. And if you care to look, you can pop to my channel. And if you look at my subscriptions, you'll see just how many channels I am actually subscribed to. And I appreciate everybody's content, help, advice. I'm still pretty much a novice gardener and only started growing in latter years, 2 to 3 years ago, and I'm still learning every single day, thanks to you guys. So, as always, wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be practical, keep yourselves out of harm's way. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.